Hello there, my name is John Dunaway and I am your instructor for Math 111, Fundamentals of Mathematics at Johnson County Community College. And the purpose of this video is to basically save us time in our first class and let us focus in class on the math part of the things that we need to talk about and get through kind of the business stuff here in this video, and it can make the first class period a lot better for us. There's a lot of information in this video that's really important that you're aware of. So please watch the whole thing, as I will be describing the policies and procedures of the class, things like how you get your grade and how test scores work and things like that, and things that it'll just be expected that you're aware of here. So I'm going to just jump right into things. I will be getting a copy of the syllabus to you either in class, and I'll try to email one to you before class as well, if I can get that all to work out for me. So here's a copy of the syllabus. It has the time and our meeting place, which is in CLB 213, which is actually a great room for us to meet in. It's one of my favorite rooms. It's got computers built in, where we'll be spending a lot of time doing things on computers in class. An email address, if you need to get a hold of me, is right here. And actually, I also included my cell phone address where you can text me or call me if you have an emergency or things like that. It's probably the fastest way to get a hold of me, either text or email, if something comes up that you need to talk to me about. I have a website. It's going to be really important that you get familiar with it, because I store a lot of the teaching videos there at this particular website. It's www.creatingmathsuccess.com. It's going to be important that you get familiar with the things on that website, and I'll be demonstrating that in our first class period. I don't have office hours on campus because I am an adjunct professor. But if you did have something you needed to talk about, I could possibly meet you before class, like 10 to 15 minutes if that was the case. Just communicate with me privately if that is a situation that you run into. This is a 3-hour class, and the prerequisites are, in order to move on to your next math class, you have to get a C or higher, and that's a math department policy of Johnson County Community College. And it really makes sense, because all of the things you're learning in this class period will be required for you to have mastered by the time you get to the next class. So it's important that you do that. This is the textbook. It's called Basic College Mathematics, and I have a picture of it. I actually have it right here for you to see, and it's got these like nice zebras. Let me get in front of the camera. There it is. Got these zebras running across the front there. But the nice thing, the way I run the class, is you don't need to have a hard copy for class. All right, what you do have to have is this MyMathLab access code, and you can actually buy that separately. And that's actually what I would encourage you to do, is just buy the access code package, get familiar with it, and then decide if you need a hardback copy or not. But you will never need a hard copy of the book in class, because everything we do will be run through a computer program made by the publisher called MyMathLab. And it's awesome. If you're tech comfortable at all, once people get used to it, they wish all their math classes work that way, and a lot of times that's the case there. But we'll get more into examples of how that works in class. So don't go buy the book unless you're sure you want a copy, but you are required to have this access code. You can talk to the bookstore about it, or you might be able to buy it online as well. I would recommend either buying it straight from the Pearson website or from the bookstore, Johnson County Community College. You are required to have a scientific calculator. I guess you're not required to, but it'll make your life a lot easier. And you're also going to be required to have regular internet access, as a lot of the instruction I do is through video, kind of like this. And then when you come to class, I kind of help you on your personal needs, and it works out really well for what you need to be successful in the class. And we'll talk about that more in the first class period there. Calculator I recommend. I have a picture of it. The Texas Instrument, the TI-30XIIS, that's the model number. I don't work for Texas Instruments. I don't get any money from them. But this particular calculator is the easiest calculator for fractional computations. And that seems to be a stumbling point for a lot of students as they go through this class. So the beauty of this calculator is there's one button, it's right here, where you can do every fraction computation with that. And I actually have a tutorial video I'll be sending to you when we get to the point in class where you can use your calculators, which doesn't happen until after chapter 3, but it's good to start getting familiar with your calculator and how it works. So that's my recommendation. If you haven't bought a calculator, the one that you buy. You should be able to get it for less than $15, I think, at Target or Walmart or something like that. This is just some stuff that we're required to put in that, again, you have to get a C or higher to move on to the next class, and a description of the material that we will be covering in class. I'll go on to the next page here. Some important information as far as how do you get your grade. Basically, it's listed right here. We have 6 tests. We have a whole bunch of work on the computer in a program called My Math Lab that include quizzes and homework, which we'll again demonstrate in class, and then a final examination that all students are required to take regardless of your grade going into that. Here is a breakdown of your grades. There are 6 tests at 100 points each, so there is the major bulk of your grade right there is your test performance. That's basically 60% of your grade is your performance on the tests. In addition to that, you have 10% that goes towards quizzes, and homework is another 10%. That's all done on the computer. The single most valuable grade to you is your final exam score, because that's one test that ends up working out to be 20% of your grade. So if you look carefully, that your test performance is basically the main thing that's going to make up your grade by the time everything is done there. So that's the breakdown of the grades for you. Now I need to talk about the exams, because this is important, as I have a lot of flexibility in your attendance. I'll talk about that in class, but it is you do need to be in class for the tests if at all possible. Let me just read through this part with you. It says, tentative dates for the 6-unit tests are indicated on the attached course schedule, which I'll go through with you in another video after this. The score of your final exam will replace the score of any previous test score if higher. If a unit test is missed, the test score will be replaced by the percentage of the final exam. However, and this is important right here, only one missed test will be replaced by the final exam. More than one missed test will result in a 0 test score. If you know that you're going to miss a test, you may make arrangements to take the test early. No student may be exempt from the final exam. Now this is important right here, the bold and italicized. No test will be given after the class test has been administered. There are no makeup tests. Now that's kind of a standard math college policy, that once I give a test in class, I'm not going to allow it to be taken again. If you're sick and you miss one test, I can replace it by your final exam. And you also have the safety net, where I will replace any test that you score that is lower than the final exam. I'll replace with your final exam score, assuming that you've taken the tests. Okay, but only one 0 test will be replaced. So you need to plan to be in class for the tests, or to take it early, and try to make those arrangements, and have your calendars checked early for that. Homework and quizzes. All the homework and all the quizzes are done on a program called My Math Lab. It's a computer tool that allows you to practice and master material. It's great. People that learn it and get into it usually love it when it's over. There's just a little bit of a learning curve at the very beginning. But the nice thing is you get immediate feedback on all of the work that you do, and the way that I have the class set up, I will be able to help you work through those questions in class, as opposed to just lecturing the material, which I do through videos that you can watch on your own time. So it's important to practice multiple problems whenever you find that you're struggling. Chapter quizzes are also done in My Math Lab, and they're due the date of the chapter test, and I'll get into these issues when I get into the calendar in the next video there. There are computers available to you in the Math Resource Center, CLB 212. It's right across from the room where we have class together, and I would encourage you to take advantage of that in your free time. Now this part is important to you as far as how to access My Math Lab. This is a access information, ID, and course name that you need when you go through the process of enrolling in My Math Lab online. And I will send you that information separately and talk about that the first night of class as well. But you'll need this right here when you do the enrollment part, because you have to put that code right there with my name on it in order to get into my class. Overall breakdown of grades, we don't do pluses and minuses here. It's just A, B, C, or D. Every 10% it drops a letter grade right there based on those numbers that I put on the previous slide there for you. And then the next page, there's not much for me to really go through here that you can't just read through and figure out on your own. Again, repeating that the Math Resource Center is available and encouraged for you to use that resource. General information about math. You're going to remember more information in math if you practice a little bit every day as opposed to cramming, because you're just not going to remember. When you cram for a test, you tend to forget that information, and maybe not you, but most people that's the case as far as how brain and memory stuff works there. So course objectives and just a few other things that you need to be aware of. Last date to drop if you want 100% of your money back is January 27th. And if you want to withdraw and still receive a W on your transcript, the latest date that you can do that is April 15th. Okay, you have one more page that's important that I'm going to do in another video as I discuss dates of tests and how to be aware of what your homework is. And I'll do that in the next video, and it's the last page of your syllabus, which is really important that you keep and are aware of how that those dates work for you in your personal calendar. So I'm going to stop this video here and do another one that discusses the calendar, and we will see you soon.